Hello, everybody. AJ, the CEO here. Hopefully y'all can hear me. It looks like my audio messed up here for half a second. So give me 1 second. It's always something, ain't it? I tested, and then we have another issue. Hold on. All right, so good. My audio is working. I don't know what in the world is going on. But anyway, AJ the CEO, folks, thank y'all so much. And I'm hearing a massive echo. Anyway, how y'all doing, folks? AJ the CEO here. We come to y'all every Friday as best as we possibly can. I might have to come out of ears because this is a little bit annoying. Anyway, thank y'all so much for stopping by. Pretty much every Friday, we try and have a Q&A to try and answer your media ministry questions as best as I possibly can. I don't know everything, but hopefully being in this environment, not just with me, but with all the other people that are watching, hopefully you can get some answers on some stuff to make it a lot easier for you. So I'm trying to find, I'm getting a double echo here in my sound system. Anyway, if I can't get to your question, folks, know that you can email me at questions@ajhomes.com and I will get back to you. Give me 48 to 72 hours to respond back. All right, everybody's saying everything is sounding good, so good. I don't know if you noticed, we'll talk about it, but Blackmagic did an update on this camera and my other camera right here, so y'all can see the bokeh. I don't know what it was. It reset the camera, and now the bokeh I used to get is back. So yay. So that looks all nice and neat. But anyway, give me 48 to 72 hours to respond back to you, and we will get with you as best as we possibly can. Mike, I'm going to address your comment here pretty soon, but if you're not a part of the Facebook group, folks, please go ahead and join that. It is an awesome environment where it's like this all the time, where we're talking with other ministries all over the world. We're about at 2,900 groups together, people together, where we're just about sharing and helping each other. If you have some equipment, because obviously I don't have access to all the equipment there is available, but out of 2,900 people, there's somebody that has something close to what you got, if not the exact same thing. And hopefully that form is in place. And I'm looking for my glasses, micro cloth, because I got something on my glasses. Anyway, hopefully that group is there so somebody can help you, direct you or give you some tips on what they've done in their scenario, because hey, I've only dealt with so many ministries,
but having us all together, we're stronger together than separate. That's what it's all about. Anyway, folks, we got a lot of stuff to go through, and we're going to get to that. But let me do my anyway, we're give a shout out to everybody. Carriers of the Covenant. I got my foot pedals back. I had them in a box here since I moved in, so I hadn't even had them. So if I turn, I'm hitting the pedals now instead of pressing the button, so I can bring up my comments. And or if I press the middle button, it will do that. So yay, no hands. But anyway, Carriers of the Covenant. Hey, what's going on? Parker Jennings. Hello, hello. Nathan. Hello, hello. John. Found out John and his wife are my neighbors. They're right next door to me on the E-Missionary Cruise, which I'm excited about. Mike from Canada, what is going on? Backbeat 3, what is going on? And like I said, some of y'all have asked questions. We're going to get to them when we cycle back around. Bruce, what's going on? Carl, hello. Anthony, hello. And Darius, what is going on? Brian, good morning. Pete, good morning. Streets of Destiny from Phoenix, Arizona, good morning. Gordon, hello from Arkansas, or is it Arkansas? I'd say both because I don't know. Whichever one that y'all prefer. Keith, what is going on? Jason, hey, good morning. Innovation with the Morrises. Hello, hello. Francisco, what is going on, sir? All right, folks. So, yay, the pedal gets rid of stuff. So, let me start everything off. Mike asked about this, when we're going to do another 24-hour Q&A. No time soon, because that wore me out. But we do have a winner, folks. I want to give that up and show y'all all of that information. So, if you don't know, and I don't think I have that image available. Do I? So, pretty much what I did is set a goal that every time we hit a 10,000 subscriber hit, so right now we're at 54,770 subscribers. When we hit 60,000, I'm going to give away a PTZ, kind of like a one PTZ live streaming bundle with an A10 Mini Extreme, a PTZ, a joystick, something like that. That's just my way of giving back. We started with giving away the A10 Mini at the beginning, and we just continue that every time we hit a goal. So that's what that bundle is. It totals around like $2,000, give or take, when the prices are. If I get discounts with the clients that I work with, not the clients, but the people who provide the stuff there. It depends. Some days it's just, I'm trying to turn my picture in picture, but y'all can't see that. Anyway, and then if you want to be a part of that, you would go to this link. It should be a link down below. But for our 24-hour Q&A, I decided to have the community raise money to do that. And we didn't hit the goal that I wanted. I wanted to do 2, if not 3 of these, but we did raise enough for 1. So I am beyond thankful for that. So for that, let's go ahead and do it this way. So for that giveaway, because now I'm on the ATEM. So let's go ahead and announce winner number 1. And the way my giveaways work, folks, that I'm going to announce it. I'm going to send the email to them. You have 14 hours to respond. If they do not get a response in any way, shape, or form, we're going to do this again, and we're going to pick somebody else. All right. I normally used to do that picking live, but sometimes it showed information and people have reached out and said, hey, could you not show this? So that's why I do it off camera now. But the winner, drum roll, is, boom, Matt Spinagle. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And I was so thankful that this person, when I picked it, I didn't manipulate it, folks, but I'm so thankful. This person is about an hour and a half away from me. So congratulations, Matt. I'm going to send the email to you here in a hot second. And what I would like you to do is, please, I'm going to email you based on the email that you registered with. And I actually, most of your equipment, except for the A10 Mini, is going to be here tomorrow. So I just have to order that. That will be in place. And because you're so close, I want to actually come there and visit your ministry and hand deliver all this stuff to you. So again, thank you so much, folks. Just realize if you're a Patreon supporter, YouTube member, your names are entered into my database twice. That's another way I say thank you. But again, y'all can still enter that giveaway that with that link that I had up here. Just realize you only have to enter once, because I do a distinct on my table that's removes everybody that's listed twice except for Patreon supporters and YouTube members. And I'm looking for that email. There it is. There's my draft email. Hold on. Congrats, Matt. You won my giveaway. Please confirm in 14 hours to claim your gear. And thanks again. And I'm going to include the image in my email. So I'm saying this not to bore y'all, but I want to tell y'all so that way, if you ever won, like Mike won one time, and this is no different. I always verify that who they are in the emails, because sometimes, unfortunately, people put in multiple emails that are not valid and all this other stuff, and that's why we give that amount of time. So if you don't get it, you don't respond, guess what? We pick somebody else. And Mike was actually the third person that we picked because some people didn't respond. So let me do that. That email is sent. So yay. All right. So again, awesome. Congratulations. John, I'm sorry. I'm jumping back. John says, awesome. I hope I don't snore too loud for you. Nah, I'm out. When I'm asleep, I am out. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over here. Let's get to the first questions here and step on the pedal. All right, Carriers of the Covenant. How do you use the chroma key function in ATEM Mini Pro? Why do you change the mic settings? See, you're lacing it with multiple questions. Why do you change the mic settings on the ATEM controls from mic to line? Let me do that first, that last one first. Mic is if... The mic setting on the ATEM is if I hook up a microphone like this, and it's going to be sending it, and that's fine. It's going to boost the signal from this so that it can be heard clearly. With a mixer, you set it to line because the mixer is already doing that. If you have a mixer, like I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not going to blow y'all's eardrums out right now, but if I turn this on and I changed my connection to my ATEM from line to mic, it would be entirely too loud because it's boosting the signal. That's the reason why you don't do that if you are connected to a mixer. When I use my wireless, when I'm walking around and I hook it up to the ATEM, when I hook these up, this is connected to the ATEM, and I have it set as a microphone because it is a microphone that is connected, not a mixer. That's the reason why you do that. Now, the second part of your question is, how do you use the chroma key? So I already actually had this set up because I saw your question early. So first, let me turn around real quick. All right, so I'm gonna turn my, open up my green screen, and chroma is pretty much, it's an effect that will get rid of this because this green, pure green, is typically not used. Sometimes you see in a pure blue, you sometimes see a pure fuchsia. Technically, you can do it with any color, but the idea is you get a very abstract color that's not going to be present. All right, so let's cut over here. Now I'm in my ATEM settings. So using the chroma key, that is going to be upstream. Let me switch back. So a downstream is where if you took the image that you're looking at right now, I'm going to flip it this way, and downstream means that you're going to put a layer of graphics over top of this, over top of the live video. This is my live video that you're seeing right now. This is that goes over top of it. So that's like your bug, your logo, anything like that. That's what a downstream key. The upstream key is the opposite, where this is your live video with some type of green screen or something, and then you're trying to pass an image up. The best analogy and example of this is like your meteorologist, where they're standing in front of a green screen, but the the map and everything like that is actually behind it. So I'm simulating what would be like a meteorologist right now. So if I cut back over here, we're going to be using the upstream key, and I actually already have prepped this right now in this scenario. So the idea is I'm going to pick something that's going to be played first. All right. So I'm going to try and do all of this in super source, and I'll switch back over. So the first thing I do is I pick whatever upstream. You can use whatever. I'm just using 4 because that one's not being used. I'm going to pick what's going to go over top of my background. So for my background, and of course, my Mac stopped playing what I was trying to do. For me, I'm going to use my Mac as my background. So this is what's going to be my background. All right. That's going to be the map or whatever. Maybe I should have put a map on here. Do I have something? Well, anyway, you got the idea. That's what's going to be behind, and that's what's going to be projected through the green screen. All right. So the first thing I do is I pick what I'm going to use. So that's going to be this camera right here. That is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, and it samples. So when I click on this, I'm going to increase the size, and this is going to give a sample of the green that's behind me. So if you see, if I move it, I like to have it big because if I was doing this the way I really wanted to, I would have the whole back wall and everything green. But if you see, if I switch back, you see I have some areas that are not covered. So that is really important. And I might have to scoot back a little bit to get this the way, because I don't have this extending all the way over, it's going to actually cut off my arm a little bit. So let me switch over here. All right. So in here, I've sampled the green in the shot from this camera. All right. And I like to have a big area that it covers everything. All right. So now that we got that, all I'm going to do is turn on the upstream key, this one. But first, I need to pick my background. So again, that's my Mac. So if I switch over to that, that is what y'all are seeing. Now, all I'm going to do is turn on the upstream key number 4 because I've had it set up. Now, I did some other stuff. I did some masking and I moved myself. So if I do that, cut over here and turn on the upstream key, boom, this is what you get. It's erasing the green. And like I said, if I move too far, you see my arm is getting cut off because of the area that I'm at. So again, let me switch back here, and I need to turn the green screen off. So, and it will still work because I'm using my background. But as you can see, if I move past here, I don't have the green that obviously is not here. My arm is out of frame of what I'm doing. This one does the same thing. So if I switch back, turn that on, you obviously can't see it because of where I moved it. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything back. Let me get rid of this. This is how you see me do when I used to do the images, when I used to do this when I was in the lower corner. That's what I would do. So let's do this again. And I'm going to turn off my flying mask, which means I'm moving where that window is, and I'm going to turn the mask off. So this is just raw, what I have. So if I turn this on, let's switch back to this. Let's turn that on again. So see, I'm in the middle. And you see, it's only replacing the green because this area, I don't have a green screen, so it can't be replaced. And this little sliver right here is cut up as well, too. So that's why it can't be removed. That's how you use it. So for me, if I cut back over here, let me turn this off. Now I want to adjust it so I get rid of all that stuff. So I'm going to turn my mask back on that I had set up. So if I turn that on, you see it chopped off certain stuff. It did on purpose. That's what my mask is doing. Let's turn it back off. And then I do a flying window, which is repositioning myself. So if I turn it on again, now I'm moved over here. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how that works. All right. So good question. Long question, but good question. And let me turn this off here because I don't need that. And let me turn this down. All righty. Nathan wants to know, how do you properly mic a grand piano? Now, there are multiple ways how I've done this, and I've seen how this is done, is normally get like a good instrument mic. I've used the Rode M500s. I've used something like that, or honestly, any type of good mic like a Shure or something like that. That's an instrument mic. I normally have just seen those placed inside of the grand piano, either on a mic stand and it's leaning inside. They have special mics that will actually attach to the inside of the piano, where the harp is and everything like that on the inside. That's how I've seen that. If anybody has done anything different, please let me know. John. Good morning, AJ. Happy Friday. What do you think of the new Blackmagic ATEM Television Studio HD8? Now, I was going to do a video about this, but I knew we were going to have a Q&A, so we're just going to talk about it. If you haven't heard, Blackmagic announced a brand new television studio, which I like. That is this one. This is the wrong program window to go full screen. There we go. This is now the ATEM Television Studio HD8. I wish they would improve those names. So this is a console that's actually, they've added a whole bunch of stuff that I've been waiting for them to do. And this is awesome. So this is normally a console that will actually sit on your desk, or you can cut a hole in the desk and it sits flush in the desk, which I'm looking forward to, because this is going to be my next suggestion for another project that I have if I don't do something here with this. But if we go look through it, it gives you all the features that you see with the ATEM Mini, but you actually have a bigger console. It has more inputs. It has, let's switch it back. So if we look through here, you got your own screen, you got your controls. I love the fact, just like with the X32, the higher models, these are LED screens, so you can program these and it will change the names of them right there. I don't think you can put icons or nothing like that. Better audio mixing, a bunch of other features. It has live streaming built into it. So yay, you don't need a streaming system anymore with this. They also added a built-in countdown timer inside of this that you can display, which is awesome. So let's cut over. So let's look at the back. It has a Ethernet switch built into it, which is kind of cool. You have multiple options of power coming in. If I zoom in a little bit, you have your reference out, your reference in. That's for syncing up your cameras. You have a time code generator in and out. You have this new MADI audio that would allow you to bring in more channels and more mic inputs into that, which is cool. 2 USB connections, just like with the ATEM Mini Extreme. So you can hook up a computer over USB. So it will show up just like a webcam, just like what you're seeing right now with the ATEM Mini Extreme that I'm using. Or you can hook up a hard drive to it and record. There is a regular version and an ISO version. So the ISO will record every single recording and the program out. The regular one just records the program out. So that's what I like. 8 inputs. Am I counting right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8. 8 inputs, SDI in, and 8 outs. So this will send program out. So what I've done with the other, and somebody on here told me about this and I never even thought about it. This sends the program out as well too. So instead of getting a 1x8 SDI out to duplicate the program out, if you're going to TVs, you can use these as 8 outputs outside of your 3 other outputs, your program and your 2 auxes out. Typically this would go to the higher end cameras so they can press a button and they can see what's live right now at the camera, but it can be used like that. You have your regular talkback that can hook into a system, and you have that is a RS422, kind of like your PTZ stuff. So there is a protocol that you can control cameras through that. I've never played around with it, but they said you can. You have your multi-view out, another multi-view. You have, this is cool too, they have control room audio. So like with my X32, I have a speaker that will play the mix for everybody there, but then you have another one that will have what's outside, what everybody else will see. So that's cool. And you have another RCA audio in, so you can hook up your phone or whatever directly in here, and you can bring audio that way. You have your traditional XLR audio inputs, 2 channels, and you have a talkback mic built in. Really, really cool. And the fact that, yes, this one is at $2,995, and the ISO is $3,995. I don't think that's a problem in price because of the features that you got. Because you got to think again, you can remove the need of a streaming system in this, which I think is really, really cool. Um, and it actually has a physical T-bar as well. I like that. It gives you a lot more granularity in a physical one instead of the software one. DVE built in. Again, it only supports up to 1080p, and it seems like actually, I take that back. It actually has motion graphics. Originally, the media pool was only still images, but it looks like this one does support actual motion graphics in here. So you can actually have animated lower thirds in this pool as well too, which is cool. The super source and all that other stuff, everything that we do. And like I said, it has a scaler on every input. So you can hook whatever up to it as long as it's reasonable. You know, I'm not talking about you hooking up a VCR up to this, but any type of camera that you hook up, it will scale up to the 1080p 60 or whatever setting that you have it. It does not do 4K. Okay. I'm really impressed with what they got. The main thing that it supports live streaming as well too is what I'm excited about that it handles as well. They also did some other stuff with that. They also announced a new camera. I don't have the Pro. I have the Plus, but this is the Pro, to where they had more compatibility with this, and you can actually hook this camera up to a phone, and then it could stream the camera to your ATEM, which I think is sick. That way you don't have to worry about it running a cable there. You can actually just have a connection that will go back, which I think is really cool. I want to see if I can get my hands on playing with something like that. Same performance. They did an update. So all of my cameras, except for my micro that they haven't, I think they've pretty much stopped supporting that, did an update. They've cleaned up the menu. So if I don't know if y'all saw the menu the arms that were on the camera, the zoom and stuff like that, the update actually has a call out for those menus now. So it makes it easier to set the functionality of those buttons. So that update is really cool. And then the other thing, that's the microphone connection that gives you 4 mics, and it connects over the network or through that MADI connection. So really, really cool. Be on the lookout for other people doing a review. I can't promise when I would do something like that to drop down to 3,000 just for that. It'll be cool, but we got some other things we got to take care of before we do that. But anyway, hopefully that's my thoughts originally from it. I think it's really, really cool. All right. Backbeat 3. When putting a PTZ mount in burring, should I drill a pilot hole before drilling the screw in? It all depends. Most of the time I do a pilot hole unless it's something like if I know I'm going into a stud. No, I don't do that. I normally do, because the cameras are so light, I normally go into a stud at least for 2 of those holes, if not all of them. But at least 2, and then the other one, sometimes I'm using toggle bolts, and it depends on the texture. If I'm going into brick like I have to do with Abundant Life, I will do a pilot hole. So just because you don't want to rip up everything like that. So safe bet, do a pilot hole about like half the size of the main screw that you're trying to go into. At least that's what works for me. So that's what I was thinking. Let's see. So again, Mike was asking, when am I going to do the next 24-hour live stream? No time soon. None. Mike also wants to know, any thoughts on changing the roundtable time to a different day? I'm still thinking about that. I mean, I honestly have a lot of stuff that's juggling going on, and then some extra stuff that I really wasn't excited about having to pick up. So if y'all are on the Facebook group, you know what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of stuff, but I do want to get back to that because this is a necessity, not just for y'all. It's mainly for me to get around other people, like-minded people that understand when I bring up concerns that most people who don't do what we do think I'm just fussing about something, but we put in a lot of work that a lot of people don't know about. So when people have a judgment of how stuff should or shouldn't be, I'm like, you're not here doing this on a daily basis. You don't know what you're talking about. As in, you don't know because you're not here. Anyway, Carl. So I'll let you know as fast as I possibly can. Carl, what's the difference between software like ProPresenter and OBS and vMix? Well, ProPresenter, well, let me take that back. Personally, I don't consider ProPresenter and OBS and vMix to be the same thing. ProPresenter is more of a presentation software that shows graphics, videos, whatever on a screen. They've added live streaming functionality, so you can live stream with it, but ProPresenter is not solely a streaming software by itself. OBS and vMix are. I'm using vMix right now to see what you're seeing right now, and OBS can do similar things. Those are programs that are small software-based broadcasting softwares that will bring multiple inputs, multiple audios, multiple videos, whatever, and consolidate it into a broadcast that would go to whatever given platform you choose. That's the difference. OBS is free, vMix costs. Now they have a yearly license with that. ProPresenter has a one-time cost, but they also have a continuing license. Like I just got the email for Signs and Wonders that wants us to renew for $60 a year to keep the updates and stuff like that. Innovative with the Morses. I'm a beginner and trying to hook my Famaco controller up to the PTZ cameras with no internet at our facility. How can I do this? I've been extremely unsuccessful getting it to work. Now, it's going to be kind of difficult for me to do this. I actually set up a video showing this. So defaultly, what's going to happen is if you don't have internet, you don't need it. I actually did a video on a bundle that I sell for these cameras. I actually did a video walking through that whole setup and explaining why I do that and how to do that. So if I cut over here, where's that? Yeah, so you could do this one, this PTZ joystick one. This is what I did for the church I'm getting ready to install next week. And it's talking about how to set everything up. So, and I think I had one for the Famaco as well too. Setting that up. Yeah, how to set up the camera and the joystick. This is where I walk through that whole process of how to find the IP address. And you don't need internet, but you do need to have everything connected on a network. So that's what I did in this video here, as well as the one for Rose Chapel. I intentionally disconnected the internet so that you could see how everything could be set up. So if I skip through here. So yeah, I walked through that whole process. That would be the best thing I would suggest to help you with that. So I will include a link to both of those videos, but that would be, once you get it pretty much high level, is you need to have a closed network. Typically those cameras come defaultly out with an IP address set to 192.168.5.163. You need to set your computer to something similar. So set it up to 192.168.5.20 or something like that. Have them all connected to a hub, open up a web browser, go to 192.168.5.163, go into it, set the IP address to whatever you want, or set it to one that's on your network. Or if it's on that closed network and it's not going to be connected to the internet, you can keep it that way. Have your joystick on that same range, so 192.168.5 something, so that everything is on a closed network so they can see each other. That's the main thing. But again, I go through all of that in that video. So let me do PTZ setup. So I sent that. So hopefully that helps you. Let's see. I'm hitting this center button so we can do this. Hey, folks, please, if you don't mind, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't, hit subscribe, because if you're watching, you can't leave a comment. You can't, because you have to be subscribed to my channel to leave comments. That stops the spam from popping up and all this other fun stuff. Do that, and I appreciate it. And hit that bell notification. That way you don't miss out on other videos. So that video of me announcing the giveaway, hopefully, if that bell notification was on, they would get that. And I have my email open and I have not received an email yet about that. So we got a 14-hour countdown with that, but we'll go from there. Monty, what is going on, sir? So everybody's saying, hey, congrats to Matt. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's get this. Jill here. How do we get you to come out to give us a quote? All you got to do is go to for a consultation. You just go to ajhomes.com/consultations. You book an appointment. Me or my admin D will get back in touch with you, and we set it out. I'm actually going to an on-site tomorrow to help them out as well. So yeah, that's all you got to do. Let's see. You know who I am. Hello, Mr. Montgomery. Hello, good morning. Let's see. Myrtle's Treehouse Ministry. Hello, hello. Dennis was saying I keyed out. My head said, yeah, that's why you got to dial that stuff in. John said it looks like they discontinued the original ATEM television studio. I think they did because the Constellation version actually replaced that. So let's cut back over here. And see, that's another reason why you got to be careful that a lot of the stuff gets wiped out and gets replaced. So yeah, the original HD television studio HD that was kind of like at Antioch, which is the last one I put in, that is gone. And the one that used to be the console like this is gone as well too. So this is still the 4K version. But again, this one doesn't have live streaming built in. And good Lord. Yeah, the 18,000. But yeah, it looks like they have discontinued the other one. And then this Constellation is what replaced that. But I'm wondering what are the features of this one? Because that's the small one. And yeah, so I don't think this one supports live streaming, to be quite honest. I don't think that's built in. Normally they would have it on here. Oh yeah, it does. So yes, why doesn't it have, shows up as I'm sorry. No, it doesn't have live streaming. It just shows up as a webcam. So this one doesn't. So this would require still you either using a web presenter to stream or a streaming system. But either way, like stuff keeps changing, folks. So which is good. It simplifies a lot of stuff. You know who I am. I currently run my sound from an aux out into my ATEM Extreme for sound. If I were to run my sound into a Focusrite Scarlett instead, how much would this improve my audio in my live stream? Honestly, it wouldn't. The only thing it would give you is another knob that you can actually turn it up and down right there instead of having to go through the software or the buttons to press. At that point, you're just adding a piece of hardware in between it. And just realize every time you add a piece of hardware from audio and video, you're adding the delay. Audio is not as bad as video, but I don't think it would improve because I used to do that and I used to have it go that way. It didn't notice anything. So I removed it. I've been doing that for 1.5 years and no one has had any issue with it at all. Dennis, 1 multi-view out, 2 auxes out, 8 programs out. Wish it were more flexible. Understood. Now, what flexibility are you talking about? What else are you looking towards? And back to Myrtle's Treehouse Ministries. Having trouble with sound and video matching up and crackling on the video from streaming. Most of the time, if it's not matching up, it's the system that's handling your stream can't keep up with processing the video and the audio, because that's the role of that vMix and OBS or the ATEM itself. That's the reason why I've pushed a lot of people to do all your audio into the ATEM to do that and match up the video, because it is syncing everything. And it's not dependent on your computer's hardware to sync it up, do all the graphics that you're doing, and send it to your live stream. You need a pretty beefy system to handle that, or a beefy GPU. Like I'm building a computer for a church now that they've added some more stuff, and it's kind of actually I can't honestly, I'm just be honest, I don't recall the system I built for them. I thought it was a presentation system. Because this was about 2 years ago, but I'm building a new streaming system for them with more power. Now, granted, the CPU is 2 to 3 generations newer than what was done when we came out, so it's going to give some more power. But you just got to be mindful of when you're streaming, it takes a lot of stuff, and that's why I've kind of leaned. Now, I used to be against hardware encoders, where it was just the responsibility just to handle that one thing. But at this point, they still have their issues. So if a new standard comes out, my web presenter and stuff like that, hardware encoders are not going to work until a software update is able to fix it. And if they make something significantly different, I mean, it could brick that, and it's not just going to work at all. Software is a lot easier because somebody just writes an update and you got it. That's why I like software encoders better, because they're faster to make changes, but they have their ups and downs. But that's what I would think. And I'm thinking if it's out of sync, that might be a part of the crackling sound, or it could be something else. But if it's out of sync, we got to address that part first. Alan, is there any special requirement for a hard drive to record the outputs on the A10 Mini Extreme ISO? I have a Western Digital 2 terabyte SSD. The requirements are mainly the speed that it can write to. And if we go to Blackmagic's site, they typically had, here it is, recommendations for the drives that you would use with it. So if we go here, these are some of the drives that they've tested and they've verified that work with it. So this is why you see the drives that I'm using. Those are the SanDisk that are on their list. And you're saying the Western Digital 2 terabyte. I don't know which drive that you have, but that would be the first thing. Look on their list. Just don't buy a drive that you want. Because you can't guarantee the results, because the ISO is not just recording the program, it's recording every single line in. So the drive needs to be fast enough to handle 10 inputs at the same time and record all of them at the same time. So you need a very fast drive. So a mechanical drive is not going to be able to do it. You need to have an SSD that's fast enough to handle that. Back to John. In my case, I would have liked if they kept the 4 HDMI inputs as well, like the original. I would agree. And that's why I say some of this stuff, like, that's why I wouldn't necessarily like it. I mean, granted, if I was like kind of Monty just made this move to, I think, Monty, correct me if I'm wrong, you were making the move to do all PTZs, that would work good, because you can have SDI go to all of your connections. Now, when I have a house, I would still use the A10 Mini Extreme for my HDMI inputs, but I would have the workhorse be everything SDI, and it's wired, and it's stuff that I don't have to touch and everything like that. That would just be me. But I understand at that point, you're going into straight studio mode. And if you go into that studio where you're building a legit studio, SDI is the broadcast standard for those type of connections. You wouldn't want to do HDMI, at least my personal opinion. I wouldn't do HDMI if I was making a studio. I would make the infrastructure off of SDI, maybe even fiber for that stuff, or maybe 10 gig Ethernet. That would be what I would do. But then the HDMI would be for those quick connections. But even in those connections, I would have everything SDI and use, something like this, a converter that's set like on the table somewhere, to where, like, hey, I have a jack on the table. I thought I had my extension here, but I have a jack that's HDMI, but then that HDMI plugs into this, and everything is SDI behind everything. That would be me. Rose Treehouse is saying, I did this by watching older videos you have put up in the past. Thank you so much. Hey, you are welcome. Brian, question, any concern sending audio out from a mixer through a wireless transmitter? No, I haven't noticed any issues with that. Actually, that's been a hack that you can actually spin it around, have your output going to the mic and then the receiver that you're transmitting your audio that way. I've seen people, DSLR video shooter has actually recommended that as well too. Yeah, they're cool because they can send power, video, talk back, everything over. If you get the other adapter, it will send everything over a 10 gig Ethernet cable. So that's the only thing that's sent to that camera. So you just run a 300-foot copper Ethernet cable, and that's all you would need, and it provides everything back and forth. So yeah, I think they're really, really cool. Also back to John. Do you know if fixed type cameras like PTZ Optics, Zcam, or similar have remote zooming ability? Looking for an overhead camera for cooking school and trying to decide between fixed or PTZ. No, out of the ones I've used from, that's how originally I used to have mine. It was a fixed one. I had a Marshall CV620, which couldn't be adjusted. I had the Makos that I used before that I did a review on. That one you have to manually adjust. I've used the camcorder, like the Sony one that I've used, that I would have to adjust. Yeah, most of those ones that are static, they don't have a zoom function, or if they do, it's one that has to be manually adjusted, which doesn't make it really work. Because y'all have seen some of my older videos where I've had to reach up and adjust it, get it in zoomed and stuff like that. So none that I'm aware of. Yes, that's what it's needed for. What do you think of the Cinemaker? The one by Black Magic? Oh no, Cinemaker. That's not by them. Let me see. Who's it by? Live Production Tools. That's what that is. Hold on. Let's bring it up here. I have not heard of them. Oh, excuse me. Director Studio free. Switch up to 2 webcams or iPhones. That would be a no for me because they're webcams. I don't know. Like I guess like right now, y'all might not know, I'm actually using Boxcast to actually stream this to Facebook and Twitch. And I need to verify how that's going on Facebook. It seems like it's going fine. So just nobody has responded to it. So it's streaming there. And then let's go to Twitch and let's see how that's going. It's going well. This is all being sent through Boxcast right now. So that's cool. I've been having an issue with my web presenter, but I am using it right now. My ATEM Mini Pro is what y'all are seeing. That's handling the stream. But if I go here, my web presenter is streaming here and handling this. And why? See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know why it's been acting up on me. All right. Maybe it's just, this is the broadcast window that's acting up. Why is it stuttering? Yes, I don't know what's going on with that. It's been acting up a little bit. That's why I'm going the way I am. So I'm doing multiple tests to make sure everything is still working. But I don't know. That's interesting. I have to look into the Cinemaker, but no, I've never used them. Didn't know about them until you just said it. Back to Carl. Can you connect PTZs to a mesh network so you don't have to run cable so long? It all depends. I mean, it's not necessarily a mesh. If you're going from a mesh network, that inherently is a wireless network. I personally don't like sending anything wirelessly like that. But I mean, in theory, yes. I can't support how the performance is going to be with that. But technically, you could. But the question is, should you? I'm a newbie and I need streaming software. I use Cinemaker currently. OBS seems to be a better value. What do you think? Honestly, I would go with OBS and cut my teeth on that. That's what I did because it's free. And you'll learn, like me, I used to do all of these with OBS because it was free. And the only reason I went to vMix is because a lot of people were asking about vMix tutorials that a lot of people didn't have in relation to ministry. And then when doing graphics and stuff like this, I used to cut over a screen and chop it up and put it through the ATEM and through OBS through window capture to do that because there was no program that made it as nice as what you see right here. So that's one of the main reasons, the two main reasons why I went to vMix. But yeah, I still use OBS at my church, a bunch of other ministries and stuff like that, because I mean, it just works. Once you put the right hardware on it, it just works. So I would try that. But then by using it long enough, you'll know the ins and outs of running a broadcast or stream. And you'll know, just like with me, you get to a point where it's like, hey, I need something that's easier. And that gave me knowledge to go into, into when I'm picking something else. Scott, hey, good morning. Steven, good morning. Sean, this was the giveaway from the for the funds of why we raised the 24-hour Q&A. That's what that was for. The next one is going to be when we hit 60,000. That's where that's going to come from. And let's see. I got an email. Nope. We still don't have an email back yet. So, I mean, they still got 13 and a half hours to respond. Naomi, good morning. Anyone have a good high quality wireless microphone to suggest? Like what's going to be the purpose of it? Are you talking about like wireless, like is it handheld, something like this? What's the use of it? And then we'll see if we can help you with that. I'm back to Dennis. With the ATEM Mini Stream ISO SD, the Extreme ISO SDI, all outputs are assignable, which is great for sending things like announcement loops to one TV or a specific camera angle. I wonder why they can't do that in the not for the program out. Those outs that are normally meant to go back to the cameras, I don't think those are addressable. But the other ones, the two auxes and the stuff like that are. I don't think the program's out like that. But we'll see. Back to Monty. Yep, I have all PTZ set up specifically for workflow and partially for reviewing so many PTZs. I agree. I mean, because we got one right here, then we got my overhead right there, which is another video I'm working on. We got another 4K multi-view. I need to slow the speed down on this. From Ori, multi-viewer I'm testing out. So be on the lookout for that video. Thank you, Ori. I actually sent them the wrong address by mistake. It fat-fingered, and it actually delivered this to the gas station across the street from me. I walked across there, and I said, hey, did y'all get something? And he was like, yeah, we did. We didn't know who this AJ person was or what this package. I was like, no, that's me. Thank you. So I'm really delayed on that review, but that is coming. Back to Parker. Doing a church service for the last few weeks, our vMix has crashed during services. Do you have any thoughts on how to fix this? Parker, I need a little bit more detail. What was thrown in the error, or did it just crash without saying anything? A lot of times, if I've ever had an issue, it was because of drivers that have caused the issue. I have NVIDIA GPUs on my editing and my streaming systems. So sometimes when Windows has made a mess up on the drivers and pushed something that I didn't want, I've had an issue like that. Like I had that with some other person that had a problem with their OBS. Actually, that was yesterday. They the system did an update and it changed their system to software encoder, and there's the CPU was a 2-core Celeron, and it was choking. It just couldn't keep up with it. John, we have computers and Apple TV going into our ATEM Studio HD, so HDMI is useful. Completely agree. All right, well, I answered this one. Ray L, good morning. Keep on keeping on. Let the Lord lead you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. D Green, what's the best way to make a sermon highlight video? I mean, it's subjective. It all depends. I would say try different methods, try different delivery methods, try and find the highlight in the video. So, I mean, you need, just like with anything else, and we've talked about this, and Mike has been doing this as well, too, with his announcements, you need to tell a story. It's just, think of the latest movie. Like I just finished watching last week, I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Looking at the trailer, they told a story, and they put you in left you at a cliffhanger of, I want to get more. That's what you need to think. It's not necessarily about the editing. It's not about that. You need to tell a compelling story, because if not, you're just putting a slideshow up, and it's probably going to bore people. So you need to find something to do that. I've been meaning to do that, but honestly, it's like and that's what I'm trying to tell a bunch of other people that aren't doing what I'm doing. Like, I'm at the point where I can't maintain doing all the stuff that people think is entailed with media. So I say that to say, like, I want to work on highlight stuff, but it's so many things now on my plate that the things I want to do, I can't do. Just because no one has stepped up to handle all this other stuff. So, I think one of my friends, Kyle, told me this, and hopefully this helps y'all if y'all are going through some tough times as well, too. It's like, givers need to set limits because takers don't. When you're constantly giving to people and they're constantly taking out, I ain't trying to put nobody on blast, but I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I changed my phone just because people who know my personal number, they've been calling my personal instead of business, and they're not asking if I'm busy. They're not asking what I'm doing. Nothing. It's almost like I'm on speed dial. You can call me at any point in time, and you expect to answer at any time. No, it doesn't. You can't do that. So I had to set boundaries, because most people who are constantly giving, they want to help, but the people who want help, they don't set limits. They just keep taking and taking and taking and taking. So that's why I've had to change it. And then for me, any call after 5 o'clock, I just don't answer, because it's just like any other business. I don't know, I went on that tangent, but just being honest, that's what I'm doing. Back to Noemi, who was given the idea about the mic, handheld microphone, singing and preaching. I personally have used the GTD audio mic system. That's what I install, and everybody's been happy with them. But I'll leave that to anybody else, and they're very affordable. HS Audio. Good morning, AJ. So you would say that vMix is easier than OBS? I wouldn't say necessarily that it's easier. A lot of the plugins that are required for OBS are natively built into vMix, so that part makes it easier. Cares O'Connor wants to know, when I'm switching cameras, is that through the ATEM? Yes, it is. So that's me going right here. That is me switching my cameras right now. So if I'm switching from here to like the Mac over here, that's all being done through the ATEM. All of my cameras are switching back that way. So what's that, 6? Yeah, so yay, that's all through the ATEM right here when I'm doing all those switching. Philip Paul from Malaysia. Hello, hello. Scott, the AJ 24-hour hotline, 1-800 not today. Exactly. Let's see. We've actually reached the limit on what we've got in questions right now, But yeah, guys, I'm just really excited about the other stuff. We just got a lot of stuff going on, and since we got a break, we're gonna give you some mindset of what I'm working on, and let me know how you feel about this. Because again, some of the topics that I feel that I talk about are things that all of us from a media, a good majority of us in media talk about, but we don't have a platform to talk about, or we're outnumbered by the people who don't know what they're talking about. So it doesn't give us a case to stand on. So for me, um, one of the things, and this is going to be another chapter in the book that I am still working on, adding some other stuff. I did some writing in it the last 2 days. I'll let y'all know when that's going to be done. But it's about setting a standard, and it's hard. That, like, for me, I'm gonna be real transparent, and if anybody's watching this, I'm hey, sorry, we're talking about it. Like, one of the issues that I have right now is I'm not trying to be a dictator, but when, from a media standpoint, and forget media, from a ministry standpoint, if you don't have standards and you don't have rules and guidelines, things will go off the rails very, very quickly. And for me, the standard for me is, since I'm put in charge of the media, no one touches anything in the media without it going past me first. The reason I say that, not that I want to be in control, is if you allow anybody to come into your media and you don't know what they're doing, they could mess up everything. And 99.99999% of the time, those people will not hold themselves accountable to them breaking something. Or some people will come in, like, even I do the same thing, and I've been guilty of this, and I've been correcting my wording when I do this. I'll come into a ministry and I'm looking at the setup, and I used to be like, who the heck set this up? This is stupid. This is dumb. This is silly. I would do stuff like that, and that was completely wrong. There's a reason why people do the stuff that they do. So I like to come in now saying, I don't know why they did that. If it was me, I wouldn't have done that. But let me try and understand why they did it this way before I come in judgmental, telling people that this is wrong. Because again, the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, when you come in criticizing or critiquing somebody when they didn't ask for your critique, that's a criticism. And immediately people get on the defensive. So I'm like this: if I didn't ask for your input, don't give it to me. And I don't mean that as a jerk. Because again, my goal is, what's the purpose of you telling me this? If you're coming in to ask for understanding, or if you're coming in just trying to tell me so that you can see, are you coming and asking me questions to show me just how much I don't know? Or are you coming in asking questions to get an understanding on why we did what we did? There are two different methods on how that comes in. Or I like to say it, you can be right, but at the wrong volume. Your tone, your pitch, your intonation can, even if your message was accurate, if you give me a beautiful chocolate cake and it's on a crappy, dirty dish, your presentation completely negated your message. So if you are truly trying to understand what's being done, but will you come in with an arrogant, prideful, pessimistic attitude, no one's going to listen to you. So that's why we got to make sure, that's especially when we're talking and dealing with people in our ministries in general. Are you coming down like as a know-it-all, or is it like me? I've been held guilty of, like, AJ, when you're at church, you're just like on a mission and you're not really nice. You're not talking this. And I said, yeah, I do that because I'm not here to talk. I'm here to do my task at hand. There's so much stuff that I'm balancing that if you want me to just be nice and talk and do that, I'm like, no. Like, yes, am I working on that? Yes, I am. But for y'all to do media, there's so much stuff that we have to balance. And if somebody's trying to talk to you and ask you about, like, why you're doing this, this, and this, and it's 2 minutes before you're getting ready to do a live stream, that's not the appropriate time to ask those questions. And if you try and nicely say, hey, we can talk later, but they insist, you might catch a different part of me when it comes to that. But anyway, let's see what some people think about some of those comments. But actually, we got some more stuff. Let's go back here to Parker. It just crashed without any warning. It would run and then crash all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't know. There should be some logs, Parker, that should give you some more insight on that in the program. If they don't, look under the Windows log and it should at least tell you something, at least point you in a direction what it could possibly be. Philip Paul, hey AJ, to your experience, what is the setup for a church that go live streaming as easy as possible? Video quality, lyrics, sermon slides, announcements, slides with picture-in-picture, the A10 Mini Pro. That would be the easiest. And just connect everything there because the A10 Mini Pro handles the live streaming. Just plug everything in and everything that you just said can be set up and everything done through the A10. No, my ATEM is connected. The video of all the cameras that's going on right now. And where's that camera? Everything that I'm doing right now is going through the ATEM. It's a red USB cable going to my streaming system, which is right over there. And then that's plugged in and that's running vMix. And vMix is adding the graphics that you're seeing, everything like that. And then that is, so in other words, my ATEM is handling all my cameras like you're seeing right now. That and the audio, that is all being sent over USB to vMix. vMix adds my different layers and graphics on top of that. And then it sends to the A10 Mini Pro that you see right there under that middle monitor. That's what's handling the streaming. Or normally it would be the web presenter that's right there that's handling the streaming. Aaron, rewind a little bit, and we talked about that at the beginning. I think it's good. Oh, and then Mike actually said that as well, too. Aaron, we actually went over that earlier. Thank you there. John, that resonated with me about the talking and being on a mission. I'm usually one of the first there and the last to leave every week. I rarely get a chance to talk or meet new people. Yeah, and I mean, like me, our church service starts at 11. I'm normally there at 9:30. I'm the one that's unlocking the door most of the time, 90% of the time. That's me. And typically, I shut down everything, and then I'm normally gone. I've taken care of whatever, and some people are still chatting and stuff like that, and I leave. I'll try and talk to some people, but I know a lot of times like, well, AJ, you're not this, you're not talking, because I'm like, I'm trying. It's a whole bunch of stuff I'm juggling, because I promise you, the same people that are saying, AJ, how come you don't talk or whatever like that, the instant something breaks, audio, live stream, anything breaks, then it's going to be like, hey, this is going on. This is going on. I'm like, hey, if I actually went and was able to work on that stuff, when I'm being told I'm not being friendly because I'm not talking to everybody else, that's the reason why. Because again, most people see from one perspective, they think this without knowing everything else is going on. So, back to Bruce. You must stay focused on the current state of the service and what is coming. I've taken talkers out of the sanctuary as it distracts others. Yeah. And then back to John. And when I'm actively running the system, is not a good time to try and come and talk to me. Thank you. Say it for the people in the front row, the back row, the side, the balcony, and outside. Please. Been thinking of getting one of those on-air signs you have to show that we are busy. Honestly, that don't even help because people just don't be thinking. Anyway, Darius, I agree with your take, AJ. I just had to tell a friend that wants me to help build his media system, that once I'm involved, I'm not trying to be a nice guy. And see, that people think, and again, I'm being transparent. A lot of people just in life, and again, I am going off on a tangent because I'm giving some more about me. Most of the time, people don't get a chance to know me. They only know me from the tasks that I do, and I try to be as proficient in my task as possible. So if I'm on a mission, like I used to do the same thing when I was at choir. When I was dating somebody at the time, and they were my girlfriend, and they were in the choir, and I'm like, nuh-uh, you're not my girlfriend right now. You are a choir member and you're going to follow what I say. And if you got a problem, you can leave. And then at the end of choir rehearsal, we had the discussion. They're like, why were you mean? I was like, because I can't treat you special. Because if I treat you special, that is going to put a seed of doubt and dissension inside of the group. If I was a general and my wife was a general and I happened to be a commander or a colonel or whatever, and I tried to pull rank of like, hey, I'm the head of the house, you're going to listen to me. Not in this position, you not. And you can't do that. So a lot of times I tell this from people that most people don't hear the heart of why I do stuff. A lot of people use the filter of their life to think that, oh, people have done this in my past, so this is how it comes off. No, give me a chance. But I mean, honestly, I don't care if you don't give me a chance. If you don't give me a chance to get to know me, it's your loss, not mine. That's my standpoint. It's like I'm focused on what I'm doing, and I want to share my life and be a part, have more friends and stuff like that. That's why I don't have that many friends. I can count on maybe one hand, two hands on how many friends, because most of the time people have not got a chance to know me. Now, the people who have gotten to know me, they're like, man, AJ would give the shirt off his back to whatever. Like my best friend, my best friend Mike from college, other friends like that I've been friends with, my friend Sonia that I've known for like 20 years, stuff like those people. It's like they've gotten to know me through the ups and downs, and they've gotten to know the heart behind why I do stuff. It's like for me, it might come off like I'm a jerk, but at no point in time I don't have the time to waste to just be a jerk to you. Everything that I do has a purpose for why I do it. I just don't do it just because. But most people don't understand that. But enough about me. All right, that comment was kind of chopped off, so I'll do that. And Darius, I agree. What we're trying to accomplish is too important. Exactly. And a lot of people don't. I know I've heard from some of y'all that y'all get that one-off comment. And I get this more just because of how frequently I do this. Y'all saying thank you. Hey, AJ, you've helped me with this, and this. Most people who aren't in the media ministry, they don't see that. And a lot of people, there's a whole lot of Christians that say it's about the Great Commission. But most of them that say it's about the Great Commission ain't even on there trying to help do the Great Commission. They're not trying to share it, and they're not just trying to have any type of impact. They are so far removed from actually putting the gospel in front of people's hands and eyes and their ears, or contributing to that, to where, yes, that's important. It's just as important of, if I'm in the front lines with the shield, I need to be darn sure I am good at holding a shield, because if I slip, it's going to compromise and hurt the people behind me. That's why I say, if our live stream audio, mainly audio, or the stream is bad, we don't know if that 1 second of audio was what somebody needed to hear to save their life. That's why it's serious. So I completely agree with you, Darius. Back to Philip Paul. Okay, thank you for the info. If, say, they have overflow rooms and sometimes will play video for in-house and stream too, what are your thoughts on that? It's the same. Your presentation software would play videos through that. So that same setup will work the exact same way. And the HDMI out, if you were going to do that, I would go to the A10 Mini Extreme. It'll still be the same thing, but the A10 Mini Extreme would give you an HDMI out for a multi-view and an HDMI out that could feed all the other monitors. Michael is saying, hey, AJ, looking to upgrade the in-ear monitors. Any recommendations? Well, what's your setup? The one that I got from Phoenix Pro, which I keep forgetting to actually leave comments on the stuff. So Phoenix Pro, my apologies, been busy running around. Those are good, but how many people are you going to be powering for that, Michael? Let me know, and we'll go from there. MA16 V3, speaking to my soul right now. And honestly, folks, I'm just being honest. That this is why, honestly, I missed the roundtable, because when you try and when you try and talk about stuff that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis with people who have no understanding of it, it real transparency. You feel like sometimes when I talk with other people, I sit back because I'm an analyzer. I analyze everything. I just can't turn that off. Because I'm was either analyzing music, how to pick this part up, pick voices up, how to get this sound right. I'm always analyzing. I'm analyzing video. How can I do this, this, and this? Audio, this, and this. Code when I was programming, analyzing, looking for the flaw in this so it makes it work and flow. That's just my nature. That's not something that, I mean, that's how God wired me. And just to all of a sudden turn that off, that's hard, if not impossible to do. But when you go through that and you talk with people that don't understand the heart of what you're doing, I don't care how strong you are. So again, this is me being transparent. When I have a lot of people do that, and it turns that analyzing as a weapon against myself because I know how my brain works. So when somebody's saying why, I can't help but sit back and think, let me analyze myself. What am I missing? Somebody keeps saying this. Am I missing something? Am I doing this wrong? Should I have done this? And that's how it works with me. So, and that's a good thing, but sometimes it can be a bad thing if it's done at too high of a level. So talking, and that's the reason why this group was made, is to talk and share with people that know exactly what you're coming from. When I brought up an issue that happened this week, for a lot of people, when I talked to, they were like not in the same field, and they were giving me thoughts that were accurate, but they were lacking information from a standpoint. So, but when I brought that same comment up in the Facebook group, I had more, I understand this, and this. It's like, it's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Like, yeah, you can say, yeah, that's messed up. It's something completely different when it's like, I know exactly how you feel because I went through the same thing. That's something completely different. So Mike said, this is a taste of a round table here on the Q&A. Hey, yeah, we talk about stuff like this. And like I said, that's why I missed this. MA16V3. If you are in the media booth, your act of worship is performing the task you volunteered to do. Exactly. John. If I'm actively on task and walking around on the floor, AV booth is in the balcony, I would try to say hi to people and visitors, but I do not. I do let them know I have to keep moving to do a task. Agreed. Chris, our pastor wants to add a TV to our basement. I was trying to think of of options for video distribution. We have an A10 Mini Pro, but we use the one output for the multi-view. Are you streaming from the A10 Mini Pro? Well, actually, you got a couple of other comments, so let me go through that. But Chris, if you can answer that question, are you streaming with the A10 Mini Pro? Because I have an option for you if you are not. We have a PC Ryzen 7 1660 GPU, 16 gigs memory with Pro Presenter. Only thing I can think of is either switching the multi-view to program view and using the output, or switching our setup and stream through Pro Presenter. Would there be another way to approach this situation? So I'm gonna wait to hear from you, but I'll answer this anyway. If you're not streaming through the A10 Mini Pro, you can get the streaming bridge, the ATEM streaming bridge, and the ATEM, I just did this with Spring Creek. And you can check that video out where I did this. So the ATEM streams to the streaming bridge, and the streaming bridge has an HDMI out that all you have to do is hook that streaming bridge up to an Ethernet cable, and the HDMI out goes to the TV, and the main program that's going through the A10 Mini Pro goes to that. Another thing you can do is if you're streaming through a different platform, kind of like what I'm doing right now, and I need to move the camera so y'all can see. So the way I have mine right now, that camera is here, but my streaming, I have an HDMI out that's actually being sent to this monitor here. So that's the same thing. So OBS, OBS does it, vMix does it. Pretty much any of the programs can do that, to where I'm sending a feed here. Another thing that you can do is, and I did this at Antioch, is you could get NDI tools on the computer, whatever computer that's giving that display, and you can, and ProPresenter actually does this if you're feeding it through it. You can make another screen an NDI screen, have it broadcast your signal over NDI, have another laptop with the studio monitor on, hook it up to that TV. NDI will show the video and audio that way. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. But the easiest, okay, so you said you are streaming through the ATEM. So in that scenario, what I would do is you could have the USB out from the ATEM go to a small computer running OBS and have that computer have a multiple monitors out. It could be a laptop that has an HDMI on it. Hook that up to the TV and have OBS capture your footage. So like, for example, if I cut over here and let's open up OBS. I don't need that. So if I had this going on here, this is the computer that's running nothing but OBS. You can have this, right click on this and make sure it has another output. So you could right click on this, and it doesn't have to be any scenes. You're just capturing the USB in from your ATEM, right click on the screen, go to full screen projection, and then it's going to go to infinity because of the screen I have set up. But you would just do that, and then that would be full screen to the TV that you're doing. That's one easy way to do that. So hopefully that helps you. Carriers of the Covenant. I've had people go to my wife to tell her that I didn't talk to them while working on the sound system during service. Please know what you're saying. Did you find the YouTube with a guest? I think with the guest hosting, I think that's what you're talking about. No, I haven't had a chance to look back at it. Philip, oh, excuse me. Back to Philip. Hey, AJ, how would you set up a media booth with 4 foot by 7 foot room space? It's kind of hard for me to say a lot of that because, that's just your space. I would try and consolidate as much as possible. I would hang TVs on walls so that I don't have any desk space. The only thing I would put on the desk, I would have one long desk mounted to the wall if possible, so you can clear up floor space, leg space, chair space. And I would have ATEM on the table and have the multi-view like on a wall somewhere so it's not eating up space. And the laptop, if you have using that for projection and stuff like that. But again, without seeing the space, that's really hard to answer. So I think we kind of get pretty far here. But again, while we take a break, I want to give a big shout out to all my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. I really appreciate y'all supporting me. Some of y'all have supported me for 3+ years, and I am more than thankful for all of that because y'all don't have to do that at all. So I appreciate it. That stuff doesn't come here to help pay for the Tesla or nothing like that. No, all of that stuff gets filtered back into either buying tools, buying software that y'all have asked me for so that I can do reviews on. That's what most of that stuff goes to. Or we pool it together to help with our tools and things like that. And giveaways. That's what it does. So again, thank you so much. I'm checking the email. Still nothing yet. So pretty much 14 hours from now, it's going to be around like 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we will go from there and pick somebody else. If I don't hear from anything, but hopefully I hear from Matt. And of course, y'all know, because he's so close, I would definitely bring y'all along to see how that all works. Let's see. Back to Chris. How do you approach teaching non-technical folks that that are willing to volunteer. I've created guides with pictures, but I feel there's still a disconnect when it comes to following it on Sundays. It's the, for me, what I try and express with everybody is to understand the purpose for why we do stuff. And again, this is harsh, but this is real. If they don't understand the purpose and they're just trying to volunteer, thankful for the volunteers. But if you have people that are just volunteering and they don't know how what they're doing is contributing to the main mission, they are a liability and they're going to give you some issues, because they're going to be the ones that it was like, hey, I need you to move the camera like this and do this and be more engaging. Why? The fact that they're asking why means they don't understand the mission. Now, again, and I got to be careful how I say this. Like, I say to other folks, like, hey, I need you to move the camera when pastor is talking to somebody in a congregation. I need you to move the camera to get that person. Why? Because if I'm at home, I feel left out, because pastor's talking to somebody. I would like to know who that is and see them, so that way I feel, excuse me, I'm a part of this entire process. It's about understanding that, are we just doing what we're doing just for it to be done, or are we making the experience available to where if anybody is watching at any point in time, watching it live, watching it after the fact, they feel like they're there and they're not a second-class citizen. I believe that the way I try and run my live stream, I don't want anybody to watch that and feel like, man, yes, we don't want to forsake the gathering of others. And yeah, we want people to come back into the church, but I don't want my live stream to make it feel like if you ain't here, you're missing out. If the message is delivered appropriately, that feeling will be automatic. So my belief is this: so many people try and teach the Bible and they trying to convict people with the Bible. It's not our responsibility to convict. The word will convict somebody themselves. You don't have to say it in a way to put fear or make people second guess themselves. The word will do that. It's a double-edged sword. It will cut and it will do all of that. We don't have to add anything to it, because when you add something to it, I mean, it's a scripture that says don't add or take away from the scripture. When you add stuff like that, it's like, oh, well, God didn't do what he needed to do. I need to add my own little spice to it because he could have done it this way. That's just me. I could be wrong. That's just how I interpret that. All right, we already talked about that. RB hidden. That's interesting. We have been streaming to Facebook with the Mevos. We recently added AJayThe Mini Pro and are looking to move to using OBS and YouTube. Give some time, because I don't know if a second part of that question has came back yet. Back to Philip Paul. Hey, AJ, regarding my second question just now about the live stream setup, your second answer was the AJayThe Mini Extreme. Can I use two AJayThe Mini Pros instead of... I mean, you could do that. I mean, yeah, you could. It's just going to add a lot of complexity to it. If you develop the workflow, then yes, you could. So you could have one AJayThe... That would add more complexity than you think. Could you do two? Yeah, you could. But you're still going to miss out on something. Because if you're using one of AJayThe Mini Pro as the multi-view, you're not going to still be able to get the main mix out to the second AJayThe Mini, because then you would need the multi-view. If you did that, then you're not going to get a multi-view on the second one, because the second AJayThe only has one input. The only way you would do that is if you have two AJayThe Minis, you have a splitter that splits the signal for every input, so that inputs 1 and 1 are exactly the same thing on each one. Then one AJayThe could be a multi-view, the other one could be a program. But honestly, at that point, that sounds like a hassle, to be quite honest. Have you checked out Playout B yet? It is a low-cost HyperDeck emulator for playback that runs on PC, Mac OS, and Raspberry Pi. Thinking of using one with a video pool. I think Aaron talked about that. I think I dabbled with it, and I just haven't followed back up with it. Philip Paul. Just now, was doing a live stream from the A10 Mini Pro. Then the USB out is going to my laptop and recording through OBS. But at times the audio goes out in the OBS, then video goes out. That's your computer. Check that. Make sure that the USB isn't going to sleep. And what are the specs? What is the utilization of the CPU when you're actually doing that recording? You may be reaching the limits of what that system can do. Pete. Hey, AJ, how do I get my pastor and our dance ministry to understand if we don't have a license for the music we play, then we could be shut down on Facebook and YouTube? Unfortunately, Pete, let it shut down. Unfortunately, when you can you can go over to show all of the information. There's tons of videos. I've done videos. Ian Corson, the internet, the social media lawyer, has talked about that. There's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of video content explaining that. But if that's not enough, unfortunately, if somebody wants to hit their head against a brick wall, you can tell them all day long it's not going to help, but sometimes they have to let it hit. And I hate giving that an example, but I mean, there's tons of things of why. I mean, I'm sure if you've gotten hit, you've probably showed them that. But don't waste your time trying to teach people that don't want to learn. That's what I've learned in general and in life. You can't. Even that's why I said with me, it's like I try and tell people, but if people have a preconceived notion of where I'm coming from and they don't understand the heart of it, it is not my responsibility for me to convince you. It's your choice if you want to. So in that scenario, if your pastor and them dance ministry don't understand that, because I had the same thing at Antioch. The praise dancers would send music last minute, or they would try and play something on an amp, and then we get hit, and then everybody's like, why is the live stream shut down? All right, y'all keep doing that, and every time we get shut down, I'm going to show you, because it tells you why it was shut down, because of these things. And whether you need to show the legal standpoint of it. Now, YouTube has changed stuff a little bit, because they have this music creator stuff that you can buy into and use music license through the artist. I got offered that, but I don't use some of the music, but I might look at it. But that's one of those things. That's just me. And I know that's hard talk, but I mean, I've dealt with it so much, and I've tried to tell people and just wasted my breath, and people won't listen. And until they deal with it themselves, or like, I hate it would to have to be like that, but some people are so stubborn that it's going to take y'all not being able to, y'all been banned from live streaming for 2 weeks for people to really get it. I mean, unfortunately, that's the case. So I don't really know how to answer that. Mr. Clarence, question. Using OBS CBV2, that's the custom bundle version 2 that we made. Can a countdown be made to stop the tracks when the timer expires? Or did I miss something? There used to be an automatic scene changer. And that's one of the things, the reason why I moved to vMix. vMix gives an option that says that when this finished, like my countdown, that whole intro starts when that video is over, because it's a trigger that says that. I don't know if OBS has that. I'm sure, I thought the automatic scene changer did, but I need to circle back with that to confirm that with you. Philip Paul wants to know, can macros be controlled over IP? I mean, yes, they can. Because there's the SDK, the programming layer for the ATEM is available, that you can interact with the ATEM in any way, shape, or form using companion app, through a stream deck, or through something that's custom, or you're writing it yourself to be able to do it. But yes, it can be triggered. Back to RB Tech. Sorry, we have been streaming to Facebook with the Mevos. We recently purchased the A10 Mini Pro and are looking to move to OBS and YouTube. Can you do a consult on that project? Yes, I can. Please email me, or set up a consultation here, Zoom, phone call, or on site. Go to ajhomes.com/consultations and we can set something up with you. Back to John as a follow up to the stuff I was talking about. If our channel got shut down, it would make my job a lot easier. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, but a lot of stuff would be missing if we did stuff like that. And that's what I think. It's easy for people to look at what we do and have an idea of what should be done, but they don't know everything that if you make this one change, how it trickles down and affects everything else. That's all I'm trying to say. And people will know that if they volunteer. Don't just come in and give me a half a second blurb of this is how I think it should be when you have no idea why it was done that way in the first place. That's all I'm trying to say. And again, yeah. But anyway, folks, I got running around to do. I got to pack up all these wonderful boxes and get them in the car because we're going to start the install at Rose Chapel next week. So I'll be in Lynchburg all next week. I think I have a hard stop on Thursday, so I'll be back here Friday to go through that stuff. But thank y'all so much, folks. Appreciate that. I will get back with y'all. I will post it on Facebook as well as on YouTube when we're going to do the live streaming stuff. Not live streaming stuff, but the roundtable stuff. I want to see if I get to Lynchburg. I'm going to get to Lynchburg late because I have a meeting Sunday afternoon, and then I'm getting on the road and just straight driving to Lynchburg after that. I'm going to see what we can do. Might be a Monday. Never know. It might be a Saturday tomorrow. I don't know. I'll put that out and let y'all know. But hey, folks, I understand. The stuff we do is not easy. Hopefully this makes it easier. Don't get discouraged when you deal with the nicest way I can say this, knuckleheads, or you don't have to. It's one thing to question yourself to get better. Don't question yourself thinking there's something wrong with you just because people don't understand you. That's why I used to think a lot of times that it's like, oh, the way I think and stuff like that is something the matter with me. No, it's nothing the matter with me. That's how God made me. I'm unique. And just like you, you're unique. The reason why you like and you're proficient in the things that you are because that's how God made you. And it doesn't matter that other people don't understand that. God made you for a reason. So that's what I say to you. I say that to me to encourage myself as well, too, because, hey, this thing gets difficult sometimes. My dad always told me being a pastor is one of the hardest things imaginable. I would say number 2 is being a musician or a choir director because you have a volunteer army that you have to lead and no one has to listen to you. And then 3rd, I would say is media ministry because you got a whole lot of people that think they know what they're doing, but they don't know what you have to do. So appreciate everything that y'all are doing, folks. Keep what you're doing. If no one's ever told you, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work that you're doing. I know I'm not at your ministry, but guess what? From the engagement that we have right here, I know that we're brothers and sisters in the same fight. We're doing the same thing. So as much as I can do to encourage you, that's what I want to do. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. Somebody heard the message of Jesus Christ because of all the hard work, the late nights, all the questions, the research, everything that you've been doing. They might not have told you that, but they actually got a relationship and they were exposed to the truth because of all the hard work that you're doing. And some of your people in your church may never say thank you for it. But guess what? I know God is happy with what you're doing. And as little as I am, I want to say thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate everything that y'all are doing. I'll have a great day, evening, afternoon, wherever y'all are. Thank you so much for giving me this amount of time that you're investing with me. And that's why I have no issue investing my time with y'all. So y'all have a great day, evening, afternoon, folks. And we'll be checking with y'all on the next video later.